I'll tell you what, you can't ask for a better first book to read from an author, I think, than Song of the Beast by Carol Berg. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about, yes, that's right, Song of the Beast by Carol Berg. Now, this is the first book that I have ever read by Carol Berg. This is an author that's been on my list to check out for quite some time, but I just is one that I haven't really gotten to at this point. And so this one is something that, was kind of on my radar, and then Tori from Tori Talks had highly recommended it. And then I ended up, somebody got this for me off my wish list, and I'm drawing a blank on who, but I would have mentioned it in the original book haul video, at least there. But yeah, so this is honestly though, for the first one starting out, it could not have gone much better, because this book is phenomenal. And it's one of those books. There are a lot of really great things about it, but just the style, the narrative choices, and the way that this is crafted is just so well done. And I'm really impressed just from a mechanics, kind of side on what Carol Berg has done here. This book, so we're following from the start of it the first character, Aiden, who he's been in this just terrible prison for many years, and then he gets out and is kind of not really sure even what to do with himself. He's never was really sure why he was there, or why all the things that were done to him were done to him. And so we're kind of, it's a little bit mysterious to start, and we're figuring that out. We follow his POV for like almost the first half of the book before we get a shift to another character, Laura, that's been introduced. And then we follow that character POV for a while. We do end up switching a little bit toward the end, but I didn't realize that we were even going to have a POV switch, and so it was really interesting because we really start just there. And so it allows you to be in this character's head, to start finding things out, but then to switch and get a very different perspective from this other character. That character's not the most sympathetic character at the start either, but you start to find out more about them as you get into their head, but also they have a different perspective. They know some different things, and so the way that it switches and gives you that different look, I just think from a writing mechanic standpoint, from a narrative structure, so good. Just works really well, and I really enjoyed that. There's a lot of twists and turns here. There's a lot of action, and there's some really brutal moments. There's some really beautiful moments. You have so much going on, and so much that's really well done, and I just was really blown away. This, I felt like I just flew through. It's so good. It's really good, and starting a book Carol Berg has a ton of books. She's been writing for a long time. This one is from, I think, the early 2000s, so somewhat later in her career, honestly, here. And it's just, I'm really excited to check out more of Carol Berg stuff. But let's talk a little bit more about the book. So Aiden is released, and we're set up in this world, and he was in the prison for a very long time and has been tortured, and we slowly are finding out more and more about him. And I won't go into too much detail because it's left a bit mysterious, but you're finding out more and more, but you're seeing this pretty brutal world where there are dragons, and the dragon lords who control them are very powerful and kind of generally seen as cruel. There's all of these different elements, like they kind of have some like fire within them from controlling the dragons, and they control the dragons with these things called bloodstones, and so that's sort of what we have set up. And Aiden was pretty important. He's actually comes from a noble family, a pretty important one, and also was like a well-beloved and respected bard type of character. And so that kind of is some details that we get in seeing him, and again, trying to figure out. And he ends up finding out that there's these bigger machinations that are going on that has something to do with why he was put into prison to begin with. But the twists and turns and kind of finding that as you go really do, I feel like, keep you guessing, because the setup is done really well. And like the explanation, as we start to advance the plot, we find out more about the world. Through that, we find out more about the history, and it's kind of hard to know what's going on, who to trust. And so just the kind of just brutal and dark feel of this, it's really well done dark fantasy, while at the same time still having the moments of hope and of beauty and compassion. And so I think Carol Berg just does a really fantastic job, because this is definitely not the, you know, what you think of with like the modern grimdark type thing. This is pretty, it's very dark fantasy, and there's some brutal stuff in here for sure, but it's not that kind of overly, you know, nihilistic or, you know, sarcastic or like even, you know, trying to subvert tropes. It's just really, really good dark fantasy. And I think the elements that are put in here are handled really, really well. Just the introduction, and again, I not to continuously harp on the mechanics, but the way the story is crafted, it's just one of those things where sometimes you read a book and like, I enjoyed the book, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things I liked subjectively, but just like from a writing level, I just feel like this book is like a masterclass in how to craft a certain type of story, and it's done so well. And that's just where it just has me really excited. And from just the first introduction to the character, and let me just read, because this is how it starts, which just immediately, what a way to hook in. I originally, when I picked this up, I read the first page and I'm like, hoo, this is going to be good. Let me flip to this here super quick. The light had almost undone me. I had not been prepared for any of it, dead man that I was, but never could I have been ready for the shattering explosion of sunlight after so many years in the dark. They had threatened so often to burn out my eyes. The thought crossed my mind that it had finally come to pass. Perhaps my memory of being dragged from my cell through the bowels of Mazadine and kicked through the iron door that would take me back to the world was only another cruel nightmare. And just like, what a visual. What a visual immediately, and with this character, and it tells you so little. It just like sets the scene so well. So just from that very moment, the draw and the I think the POV switch, the way it's done, is so bold. There's not a normal way that it to happen like that, and I feel like it's the kind of thing that may not work for everybody, because having a sudden POV switch, which is why I do mention it, the fact that it does, because I wasn't really sure how that was going to go when I was reading it, and then all of a sudden we POV switch. I'm like, oh, I'm like, are we just going to do the rest of the book from this POV? But it really works so well, and just the different viewpoint from that other character works really well to come in and just kind of shift things up. And then we do, like I said, we switch back a little bit of forth. So it's not your kind of normal dual POV where we're just switching off a lot. We're really setting up the story, setting up another part of the story, and then rolling with it at the end. And so it's just really bold choices, I think, really work well. This definitely shows that this is an author who had a ton of experience and absolutely knows what she's doing as well. And like I said, many series and books that she wrote for many years. Carol Berg was active for quite a while. So this is one of those books where you can see like an author at the top of their game, really, really going. And just the writing, really good. The characters, I feel like they're not always the most sympathetic. The main character I feel like largely is, but like some of the other characters too. There's some characters that you might hate. There's some characters that you might find out you were misunderstood, but you also just, there's so many people where you don't know, like, should I trust this person? Should I believe this person? Whose side is right? What's really the goal here? Because there's a lot of people who want these very different things. And the character of Aiden actually reminds me just some flashes of Arathon from Wars of Light and Shadow, with, you know, musically inclined character who's just gone through a ton of stuff, very compassionate and understanding despite all of the things that he's gone through. So I feel like for me, that was an extra draw that I was feeling these little flashes of potential similarities between Aiden McAllister and Arathon Svalin. So that was just an extra little thing for me with it as well. And I don't know if there was any intention, or if it's just, like I said, it's not huge similarities, just some small things. But so it's just, yeah, I was immediately drawn in. I like the main character, the setting. I was just so curious. I constantly wanted to know more. The other big thing is this is a standalone. And so the amount of content you get, it's not a overly long book either. The amount of content you get, the amount of world that's set up, the history, the plot, it's all handled really well. It moves quickly, but it never feels like it's moving too fast or too slow. It's just plotted very well. The story construction works great with the different POVs. You're not spending a ton of time getting like info dumps or anything like that. You kind of are finding out a little bit as you go, but more so as additional pieces are revealed or we find out more of these things. And so it's just handled really well, and it's one of those standalones that this is definitely going on my like list of top standalones because it's so satisfying and it does so much, and it feels like you get what you want out of it too. There are some things that are still left open-ended, like I think all great standalones have to, but it doesn't feel like this is book one. It feels like this is a complete story, and while I think you could absolutely continue stories in this world, like this story is complete and done so well. So really, those are my thoughts on Song of the Beast by Carol Berg. I recommend this so highly, especially if you like dark fantasy. But if you're a character reader, if you're a plot reader, I think there's a lot for both. As long as you're okay with the kind of the different choice with the POV construction, I think there's so much to love here, and I can't recommend this highly enough. This is absolutely 5-star book. Was my first and I think only probably 5-star book of April, and this will very likely be on the list of my top books of the year. I would be pretty surprised if it's not, unless I have like a really amazing year, because this was just phenomenal. It's definitely joins the ranks of probably somewhere in my top 10 of standalones, and just a really fantastic book. And again, I'm so excited to read more Carol Berg. So yeah, that was really my thoughts on this one. Let me know if you've read this one or if that sounds interesting and you're going to be checking it out. Would love to hear from you down in the comments. Of course, make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description as always for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizard of the Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.